This is What Happened This Week, coming at you on a Tuesday. This will come out Wednesday, April 7th. Hope everyone is doing all right. Got a great podcast coming at you, talking about today Paul Pierce and what all went down with that. I also want to touch on the Kevin Durant and Michael Rappaport DM battle and everything that has come from that. And also going to talk about what it was like being back in an NBA arena. I went to an NBA game last week and wrote a story about it. And I also just want to talk on the pod about it. Little loosey-goosey. Anyway, hope everyone's having a great day, evening, morning, midnight, whenever the hell you're listening to it. I appreciate you listening nonetheless. What? Nonetheless? I appreciate you listening. I don't think nonetheless was needed there. Anyway, I appreciate you listening. We've got a great pod here. Make sure you are liking, subscribing, following, rating, reviewing, all that good stuff. It all helps us out very much. Anyway, I'm going to get into it. Don't want to take too much of your time. Here we go. And we're back. Well, not we, but me. What's up? Starting today, gonna talk about what it was like being back in an NBA arena and sort of what that experience was like. So, I went to go see the Nets versus the Hornets with my father on, I think it was Thursday night or Wednesday, Thursday night. Yeah, because it was my day off. It was a lot of fun. The Nets didn't have Kevin Durant or James Harden, but it didn't really matter. They still controlled the entire game, won by 20 plus. It was a good time. Coming in was odd. We went into a side entrance. They hit you with that temp check. There's a 10 outside. I didn't have the Clear app, so I had to wait in a separate line. Then once you were through that, you go through. Actually, no. Yeah, I had to show my vaccination record because your boy is fully vaccinated. Holla. And then go through metal detector. That was all good. Nets worker handed me a Nets mask. That was pretty cool. Very nice mask. Shout out to the Brooklyn Nets for getting good masks. Because masks are required at all times. If you're not eating or drinking, which that's fine. The empty hallways were like. It was weird. It was like an abandoned high school because you're in a place where you're so used to having so many people, but they're not there. It sort of made the stadium feel pretty cavernous. And food stands that, popular as hell, they're now closed and gated off. And that was kind of weird too. They're not all food places, but, the bars and all of that within Barclays were, they got them COVID protocols. Security, they seemed pretty chill, but definitely had shit under control. I was a little disappointed going into the game just because, when the tickets were bought, one would think, oh, I'm going to see James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, LaMelo Ball, all that. But, it's all good. It was still good just to be back. And so we get up to the seats. We sit in the nosebleeds because, that is what it is. Don't have that courtside money, at least not yet. Maybe one day. It sitting up high made me remember the last game I went to. It was like the Nets got killed by the Grizzlies, and this was, I want to say it was in March, but I could be wrong. But there was definitely a different feeling within the building because, player intros are going to be rather muted. But, Barclays has been pretty creative with their hype antics. They have stages on opposite sides of the court. There's a dance team and they're doing sort of things in a style where it looks like they're in a music video. And, it's pretty good. They drum up some good noise. Obviously when you're going to have when you're going to have less than 2,000 people in a stadium that can fit over 16,000, it's going to be different. And in fairness, this game, the Nets were in control literally the entire time, so there wasn't too much opportunity for like hype. There was a moment when Jeff Green dunked by Gordon Hayward, and it was, there's a but it wasn't the same thing. Still a buzz, but again, with the Nets collapsing the Hornets after one quarter and literally throughout the game, it didn't make, it's not quite the same. There's some stuff, but it's not quite the same. And, as the game went on, I noticed ambient noise just because, I think people at a blowout, they're not going to be as hype. No t-shirt toss. And, some Brooklyn chants at the end there. We had some lively people sitting behind us, a lively group, not directly behind us because of social distancing, but it was good. I would, if you have the opportunity to get to an NBA game, these shits are good. And again, it's not the same, but it's not too far off from what it was, I guess. It sort of reminded me of when I used to go to Nets games and they would get killed and, you'd be the only one sitting in your section. Next thing I'm going to talk about is the Kevin Durant versus Michael Rappaport. I just realized that I'm doing all basketball today. That's okay, though, because I did a mock draft last week, even though that's no longer relevant because things happen in the NFL really quickly. But anyway, Michael Rappaport versus Kevin Durant, DM battle. And so there's a couple of sides to this. Well, not a couple, but, Rappaport is clearly a firebrand when it comes to sports and just politics in general. I think he's very much... He likes to be at the center of these things, and he likes to not incite chaos, but he likes to stir the pot. And in this scenario, he really got under Durant's skin, and it was that type of shit where Durant's like, all right, you know what? If you're about this action, like, let's fucking get it. And I know that what Durant said was very inappropriate and it's shit that you shouldn't be saying, wasn't cool. And, I wouldn't say I'm a fan of Michael Rappaport, but I'm not trying to defend him here, but man, KD really unloaded the clip. And, with Rappaport taking the DMs public, it sort of backfired in a way that was like, oh, I did not think... Well, Mike, he went on First Take, I think, yesterday, and he was, practically crying because he was like, people who, at the dog park, people who used to be cool with me, they're not cool with me anymore, blah, 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 blah. I can't do this, can't do that. And it's like, if you're sort of making a career and using your platform as a firebrand and somebody who is dishing out all this criticism, and again, I'm not defending KD here. I don't really, these are private exchanges. So I don't think Rappaport should have taken it public. I mean, maybe he should have. I don't know. I don't know what his goal was to try and be like, hey, look at what Kevin Durant is saying to me, because man, I bet Kevin Durant has heard so much worse in his life than Michael Rappaport. You know, whether it's a Tuesday night in Utah where you're just kicking ass and people are, being straight up racist. And I don't want to single out Utah. It was just the first place that came to my mind. But there's a history there. I'm just saying that Michael Rappaport, I know why you were sort of hurt, but at the same time, if you're spending your career just making videos, just going at people, people are going to snap. People are going to snap, and it's not the type of thing where it's like, oh, he got his medicine, served to him. It's not that. But it's sort of the idea that it's like, oh, you can dish it, but you can't take it. And I'm not saying that Mike Rappaport is going in people's DMs and saying this, but there's a certain amount of expectations that I think you should have when you're consistently criticizing people. And, he's very outspoken about calling Kevin Durant a snake like that. And what KD said wasn't cool, but I don't know. I'm finding it very hard to defend both of them because it's not really a defensible situation for either of them. That's my take on it. All right. Last topic. Keeping it nice and short and sweet. Well, I'm trying to. I'm going to try my hardest to keep this under 15 minutes. So I promise you, stick with me. Paul Pierce got fired from ESPN. I believe he got fired either Sunday night or Monday. And that stemmed from him being on Instagram Live, and he wasn't sober, straight up. He was, smoking some thang, drinking some thang. I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy some vices similar to that. But he was also hanging out with some women who were, I don't want to say strippers, but they appeared to be sex workers, whether they were dancers or more than that, whatever it is. And, there's this whole thing where you're like, oh, fired on your day off? Thinking about the movie Friday. Shout out Chris Tucker. And I don't know. I think people who are mad that he got fired, you just got to remember, he worked at ESPN. And then you look, who owns ESPN? Fucking Disney. Come on, you work for Disney. What did you expect would happen? I'm not going to lie. I was never the biggest fan of Paul Pierce's commentary on halftime. He's one of those where if it's halftime, I'm not watching the halftime show. This, you're not inside the NBA. I'm straight up, I'm just not going to watch it. I just don't believe that you say valid things. Like, for me, it was when he tried to compare himself to Dwayne Wade. And it was like, bro, stop it. Bro, just please stop it. Stop it. And he got fucking flamed for it. And rightly so. I think his takes are... I don't think he has good perspective on the NBA today. Because I think a lot of these guys, they don't see this as... like a serious occupation. I think they're like, oh, cool. I'm gonna go in, chop it up with the boys at halftime, and that'll be all. I'll give my commentary, this person's good, this person's bad, blah, 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 and that's it. And I think Paul sort of saw it that way, but when you have an employer like Disney, you need to recognize that, hey, maybe I shouldn't be posting strippers and me smoking on the live. And again, I know it wasn't too many people on the Instagram Live, but it's sort of the idea that maybe he thought it was okay. I don't know what he thought. I don't know if this was a sort of Antonio Brown situation where he just completely self-sabotaged. Who the fuck knows? But you know what? Paul, I wish you the best of luck in your career in TV, and you'll be good in Barstool, I'll say. All right, and that's been what happened this week. I hope y'all enjoyed. Little contributor Anubis at the end there, just getting his thoughts off on the Paul Pierce thing. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you're following us on Instagram and Twitter. Check us on YouTube. We stream every Friday, whether it's Smash Bros, whether it's League of Legends, whether it's whatever. We try and touch them all. Again, appreciate you listening. We've got some really exciting interviews coming up, from local artists to people who are dealing with the Supreme Court right now, to some really cool musicians. So, you know what? Make sure you're following, make sure you're subscribing, make sure you're rating, make sure you're reviewing. Check out previous podcasts. I know we missed last Saturday, but we didn't record because it was co-host Cameron's birthday on Tuesday. So, we took the week off. I appreciate you for listening. Hope you're having a great day, and see you at the next one. Peace.